Good morning. It is Friday, August 11th, and obviously I have not been very good about documenting all the changes this year. I would say to those who can get stuff done and document, you are better than me. So here is the garden so far. I'll start with this strip right here. This is a strip that I have killed the grass. I'm going to be planting a whole bunch of daffodils and tulips here hopefully next month. But the garden looks a little bit different than last year. Starting probably about halfway down is the expansion area. So the outside has a whole bunch of new perennials, and then Iron Maiden made me the sunset at the top of my gate there. Sadie's waiting patiently to get in. You want in, baby girl? Alright. So I switched up a few things this year. I moved the tomatoes over to this corner, and as you can see, they like that change a lot. They have actually just kind of overtaken everything. I've gotten to the point where I either need to prop them up or do some snipping. I'm going to need some bigger tomato cages if I do that next year. But the goal this year was to implement flowers in with the garden wherever I could to kind of help bring in more pollinators. So I have calendula mixed in, and then sweet alyssum on this side. It's doing pretty well. And then my corn, which I don't think it's been this big this early ever. So even having a cold start really didn't seem to stop it all that much. So we'll see if I get ears of corn to go with it. Carrots. I had radishes and peas earlier that kind of went up, but those were obviously a cool season, and those have already been harvested. I'm hoping to do another sowing of radishes here soon. And then this bed still has the herbs. As you can see, the mint is doing fantastic, and the pollinators are all over the place. Mint kind of takes over, but it's been a great filler to use in my bouquets that I'm doing, so I've at least found a use for it. And then potatoes. I've got russets and German butter on this side, and then the reds on this side, and then as you can see, my dill has kind of self-seeded everywhere. I have rutabaga again. The rain in June kind of rearranged things a little bit, so the rutabaga kind of is spread all over instead of in nice little rows. And then the next couple rows are a miniature sunflower called Gold Coin. It's supposed to be kind of like little fuzzy ones. And then we have golden beets this year, which the leaf miners are getting after, but it doesn't seem to be bothering the beets at all. And then this row, the rain kind of washed it off to the side, so this is Love and a Mist. And then this, everything beyond that section, this is all brand new for this year, and that is all flowers. So I've got snapdragons, statice, straw flowers, balsam, cosmos, bachelor buttons, and then in this new raised bed over here I have dahlias, my glads. I have tried ranunculus, which they were just starting to bloom, and then the voles have been doing their thing and taking them under. But then I've got the zinnias coming in on top. But everything beyond this section, kind of where these tubs were, everything beyond this line, all of this brand new. I had that pollinator patch last year that was more dill than anything, but it is just going crazy this year. But raspberries, strawberries, more cherry tomatoes, and then beans and basil in the other ones. And then next one is dill, which again has self-seeded from previous years, and beans and what's left of lettuce from my early sowing. I'm hoping to see what I've got left and do another planting to get us some for the fall. And I'm going to go ahead and start down at the end here. This is my broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and then I do have some onions kind of planted around the edge. But this is the first year that I've done the shade cloth all season long, and that has been an absolute game changer. It has really helped the broccoli and cauliflower actually produce a harvest that isn't too buggy. It's kept not all the bugs out, but I would say a vast majority of them. And then the next section is my tomatoes. Last year I think I had a dozen plants in here, and this year I did 10 just to kind of give everything more space, and as you can see it's taking full advantage of it. But planted marigolds and nasturtium in with them. And then the next one is onions and peppers, which I think I have 10 different varieties of, or 10 plants, 5 varieties. And then the next one is cucumbers, and then more calendula, and then the dill that has self-seeded. And then we have zucchini and more nasturtium, which is kind of taken over in there, but doing its thing. And then we have cabbage, Brussels sprouts, some spaghetti squash, and then yellow watermelon, which I don't think is going to do anything unless we have warm temperatures until the end of October. But beyond that, you can see is what was the pollinator patch outside of the fence last year, which I did not expect these perennial sunflowers to get as tall as they are, because they are taller than I am. I expected them to get about knee height, and that is about it, but getting huge. And then over here, this little section is where my little greenhouse will go, hopefully in the next month or two. And then I've got another batch of sunflowers, different kinds, and then some perennial flowers. This side over here I've tried to grow more of the perennial flowers, and then the other side over there was the annual flowers. And then the birds sitting on the fence back there will be some birdhouses. I do have a path that goes around this, but it's kind of overgrown at the moment. So, and then my other sunflower patch, you can see this one is just opened yesterday. It's beautiful. Loving that. But sunflowers seem to do really well here, and I have ladybugs all over everything. And then back here, hiding, we have celery and Swiss chard, which again the leaf miners seem to be going after. I do have some of my honeyberry bushes that are growing. They didn't do much last year, but they are growing. They're kind of getting overpowered here, so probably we'll end up moving these sunflowers next year into a different location. But this one's an overachiever, getting way taller. And then of course my rhubarb, asparagus, strawberry, nasturtium patch. But at least for August, it's looking like a jungle. But it is producing well this year. All the moisture we had in June combined with a nice warm July has really made everything pop. That's the only other thing I wanted to highlight. I'll go down the path here. That's my other spinner that Iron Maiden gave me. I had a couple beds here that I planted things, and for whatever reason they just didn't do anything. So these I will be cultivating and probably trying to improve the soil a little bit, and then I'll be planting the things that need the cold stratification in order to do anything. So I've got some seeds that I had set back for that, but there's the path around, as you can see, that's overgrown. I had to take out a bunch of grass and alfalfa that was kind of taken over, but I'm going to overseed again in the fall with flowers, and hopefully that will kind of fill in this patch. I don't mind a bit of grass, but don't want it everywhere. And that is pretty much it for the garden. Got my hands full since I've been gone a few weekends, so we'll do some cleanup.